They call it guided, a safe path to the top of the world. They promised safety. They sold success. But behind every guided Everest climb lies a dark, deadly truth. One built on pressure, inexperience, and silent sacrifice. This is what guided really looks like at 8,000 meters, and no one's telling the full story. A line of climbers frozen in place, gasping through clogged oxygen masks, while Sherpas haul their gear and their bodies higher into the death zone. Some collapse mid-route, others never return. And yet, brochures promise safety, comfort, and even success. But up here, there are no guarantees, only risk, frostbite, and silence. What's sold as a guided adventure is, in truth, a high-altitude gamble stacked against those who don't belong. This is how greed carved a trail to the summit. In 1953, Hillary and Tenzing reached the summit through sheer grit and pioneering spirit. For decades, Everest remained the domain of elite mountaineers. We're talking about those who trained, failed, and bled for it. But by the 1990s, something shifted. Commercial guiding companies emerged, promising Everest to anybody with the money to pay. No experience? No problem. The 1996 Everest disaster, immortalized in John Cracker's Into Thin Air, revealed just how fragile this model was. When underqualified clients and poor judgment collided in the thin air, lives were lost. When adventure turns into a luxury promise, truth gets buried in snow. Today, Everest is marketed more than it is climbed. For $50,000 to $100,000, clients expect a curated summit, complete with guides, porters, and hot meals at base camp. It's no longer a battle against nature, but a package deal with summit photos guaranteed. Some operators even advertise near certain success rates to justify their high prices. But here's the dilemma. Everest doesn't care what you paid. When business depends on client satisfaction, guides are pressured to push forward even when it's unsafe. The question is chilling. Are they selling adventure or are they selling a lie? And the real danger isn't the climb, it's who's being allowed to climb. The harsh truth? Many Everest clients shouldn't be anywhere near the mountain. Some have never climbed above 6,000 meters. Others arrive with no rope work, no high altitude experience, not even basic crampon skills. One guide admitted, some clients can't put their gear on without help. The result? Sherpas and guides do everything. They carry loads, fix ropes, even clip clients in and out of safety lines. Everest has become a stage for the underprepared, where money overrides merit, and survival depends not on skill, but on someone else's strength. And the ones paying the ultimate price? They're not the clients. Behind every summit photo is a Sherpa who risked everything to make it happen.
54-year-old Kamilita Sherpa climbed the peak of Mount Everest for the 30th time. On May 12th, he had reached the summit of the tallest mountain.
They crossed the Khumbu icefall over 20 times per season, hauling loads twice their weight, setting ropes, and braving storms to rescue stranded clients. In 2014 alone, 16 Sherpas died in a single avalanche. That was the deadliest day in Everest history. According to the Himalayan database, nearly 1/3 of all Everest fatalities are Sherpas. As Alan Arnett once said, without Sherpas, Everest would be nearly unclimbable. But their sacrifice remains tragically invisible to the outside world. But what makes it so bad? What happens when profit whispers louder than the mountain's warnings? Summit windows are brief, sometimes just hours. When weather turns, but clients demand their shot, guides face a brutal choice: turn back and lose business, or push on and risk lives. Even elite operators aren't immune. One veteran guide confessed, "I ignored my gut to keep a promise and I still see that decision in my nightmares. The line between service and survival blurs quickly at 8,000 meters. Sadly, Everest guiding isn't just logistics anymore, it's a moral tightrope stretched across the most unforgiving place on planet Earth. The crowd? It's a system designed to overflow. Nepal's economy thrives on Everest, and the permit system reflects that. In 2023, the government issued a staggering 478 climbing permits, up from around 334 in 2019. No climbing resume is required, just a medical check and the money. More climbers means more income, regardless of experience. Base camp now resembles a bustling village, packed with tents, Wi-Fi signals, and trekkers treating Everest like an adventure park. What was once an elite ascent feels like mass tourism at the roof of the world, with deadly consequences, of course. What looks like a line to the summit is often a queue for death. Above 8,000 meters, time is oxygen. The bad news? Both are running out. In 2019, a viral photo showed over 200 climbers crammed near the Hillary Step, a deadly choke point just below the summit. Add the South Summit and the balcony, and Everest becomes a vertical traffic jam. Every minute waiting drains precious oxygen, pushes frostbite deeper, and makes rescue impossible. People collapse, standing in line. As one veteran climber put it, "This isn't a traffic jam, it's a death sentence in slow motion." The warnings had been loud and clear before Everest started taking names. In 2019, the world watched in horror as climbers died simply waiting in line. Exhaustion, oxygen depletion, and frostbite claiming lives just steps from the summit. And yet, the rush never stopped. By 2023, Everest saw record fatalities, many tied directly to inexperience, poor preparation, and those same deadly bottlenecks. Sherpas warned, guides pleaded, but the permits just kept coming. Everest became a graveyard with a growing queue. And now, 2025 looms with more permits, warmer weather, and even more amateurs. Everest isn't healing, it's warning us. It's not completely beyond saving, but only if we dare to change the rules. Experts agree, the current system is unsustainable, but it's not unfixable. Proposals include capping the number of permits, requiring climbers to summit at least one 6,000 meter and one 7,000 meter peak, and enforcing stricter vetting of both clients and guiding companies. China's side of Everest and Tibet already has these controls and consistently reports fewer fatalities. And yet, Nepal hesitates, fearing tourism issues. The question now is whether lives are worth more than revenue. Everest doesn't need more climbers, it needs the right kind, chosen with care, not cash. We have to ask ourselves, who's really being exploited in this situation? At what point does personal freedom become reckless endangerment? Should anybody, regardless of skill, be allowed to gamble with death just because they can afford the price? Guiding companies defend their role as enablers of dreams, but critics argue they're feeding a deadly illusion, cashing in on fantasy while others carry the risk. The ethical line is blurred, buried beneath ice and ambition. And the chilling question remains, are we witnessing the world's highest peak turn into a graveyard for profit, one guided a single step at a time? Everest has been communicating, and if we don't start listening, a lot more people are gonna die. Let's face it, the mountain was never meant to be easy, but now the summit is bought, not earned. And the mountain is bleeding because of it. Guided expeditions have opened doors, but at what cost? Profit has eclipsed preparation and everybody pays. So we ask you, should Everest guiding be strictly regulated? Or is risk just part of the price? Let us know where you stand. And next, we're going to follow the most harrowing disappearance that still haunts the mountaineering world in 2025.